all my beautiful sisters from those other misters. Today I'm filming a review, a demo and swatches of the new Tarte Tarteist Pro Palette. This thing, I picked it up late last year from Sephora when it was released because I liked the look of it. It sent me back 83 Australian dollars. You can pick it up off the Tarte website for 82 Australian dollars. And while it may be tempting to save a buck, it's worth noting that Tarte shipping to Australia is nearly 24 Australian dollars. So that makes this palette nearly 106 bucks if you decide to purchase it off the Tarte website. The packaging is plastic. You've got matte black on the front with the gold lettering and then metallic gold on the back. They both collect fingerprints, so mine looks fucking filthy. The opening is a snap closure. Whoa! Don't fall out. I need you to stay in there for review purposes. Snap closure, which is fine. Like, it's good, it's functional, it works. You do get a plastic slip in there, which usually I don't talk about this, but in this case I feel like it's important because the matte shades in here, they're quite soft, so they do kick up a lot of product when you dip a brush into them, and it kind of, this dude protects your mirror from getting eyeshadow and shit all over it. Speaking of the mirror, it is quite large. Hello, second face, aren't you glorious? You can totally do a full face of makeup in it, and not just like the face. Like, I can get my neck in there. It's good. I like the mirror. It's fantastic. Now, let's talk about the eyeshadows and the formula. Okay, if you can hear noise in the background, it's my air conditioning. It is really fucking, like, can you see the glistening? That's sweat. It's disgusting. So let's talk about the eyeshadows. In the palette you get 20 eyeshadows. They each contain 1 gram each, so that's a total of 20 grams across the whole palette. 16 of the eyeshadows are matte and 4 of them are metallics, or yeah, they're metallics. They're like, some of them are duochromy. Anyway, we'll get on to that. I want to talk about the mattes first. So I feel like the first 3 rows, this one here, and this one here, they're beautiful. They're soft, they have good pigmentation. Some of them have better pigmentation than others, but that's fucking typical of any eyeshadow palette. I feel like when you dip a brush into them, they do pick up a lot of product. They also create some powder in the pan, similar to what happens with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. But that sort of, that powderiness or the softness of the eyeshadows make them really easy to blend, which is fabulous. I love that. The last row of mattes, this one here, they're like, don't use them as traditional eyeshadows, guys. On the Tarte website, they say like each row was curated by a professional makeup artist to assist people in learning how to use shadows and colors together. So if you buy this palette and you're not confident with mixing up all the shades, you can go in with the rows and play with it that way. They don't make it perfectly clear that this row here is actually designed for lining the eyes. So the formula of these shadows is a lot drier, a lot stiffer, and they don't blend as nicely as these ones here do. I find that I was using these shades to deepen my crease and stuff, and put it in the outer corner, and I would always be left with shit. Like, they don't blend well. They stick and grab and they go patchy, and it's a major fuckery. These shades here, they really should have like made it perfectly clear that these shades are best used as liner shades rather than like just leave them there like you're meant to use 4 fucking mattes and a metallic in an eye look. Speaking of metallics, these are fucking beautiful. Now they are promoted as duochrome shades, and they are, but some of them are more subtle than others. So this one here, Trendy, it's a blue with like a purpley brown shift, and it's fucking beautiful. Then we have, what are you, Minx? It's a purple, and it kind of, when you catch it on different angles, it just looks like a darker brownier purple. It's not like, the transformation isn't magical. Then we have Glam. This is like a soft champagne with a pink shift, and then we have Ethereal down here, which is gold, and it kind of shifts to a very slight copper, but again, it's like, it's subtle. They really would have been better to just call these metallics and fucking leave it at that, because when you call something a duochrome, people expect color shift, and they, I mean, it's there, but it's subtle, so So the layout of the palette is done in rows, and basically they say you've got a highlight, a lid, a crease, and then a liner shade. So that's 4 shades to put on your eyelid. I would assume that they think the metallic should then be pat over the lid shade. I've done that. Don't bother. They don't stick, and you lose that beautiful luster and shine that these eyeshadows have. Typically what I do, I pretty much skip the highlight shades unless I want to use them as sort of a blending color. I go in with something in this spectrum for my crease and outer corner, and I use one of the metallics over my eyelid. The lining, like the dark shades, I don't even touch them anymore because they just ruin the look. You will find that if you start using the shades here as like highlight and lid color, and then you try and use a dark shade to sort of deepen up your crease or your outer corner, you will blend so much that it will turn to shit. You literally won't see any color definition, because the majority of the shades here are sort of quite similar, especially in their tone and their depth. It all blends into one and looks muddy. So when they say, you know, use the eyeshadows in the rows that they've been curated in by professional makeup artists, I'm like, well, you shot yourself in the foot, because people are going to use it that way and go, everything looks like a muddy piece of shit, and the palette is crap. However, if you take a lighter shade, say for your inner corner, and then you use a metallic over your lid, and you use one of these colors in your crease, it creates a beautiful defined look. If you then use one of these to sort of line your lower lash line or the very upper lash line, it looks really pretty and it works. As for color selection, this is a predominantly cool toned palette. There are some neutrals and some warm shades in there, but it's mostly cool. If you don't like mauvey colors or plummy colors, you're probably not going to get a lot of use out of the mattes. I feel like they fucked up with the whole 16 mattes and 4 shimmers thing. Because these mattes down here are hard to work with, I feel like they should have either made the formula similar to the softer mattes or got rid of them completely. Like, they're kind of annoying, to be honest. It's like wasted space. I also think that some of the shades in here are just so similar, it's ridiculous. So you've got Indie, Profesh, and Fierce. Basically, they are the exact same color with varying depths of intensity. So you've got light, medium, dark. I feel like it's kind of, it's a bit ridiculous. Like, it doesn't need to be in there. And the fact that they call this a pro palette, like, you don't need that many of the same color in varying depths. The same goes for like Innocent and Chic. Like, they're basically the same color, they're just, one's a little bit lighter than the other. And to me, when you look at a pro palette, it basically, you can create any look that you want with the one palette. Like, it's all in there. I'm going to move on to swatches. I'm going to finger swatch the whole palette for the sake of it not taking me 2 hours to film the swatches. And I am also going to do brush swatches of one each of the soft mattes, the stiffer liner shades, and the metallics. When it comes to the matte shades, I'm actually going to use 2 brushes to show you the difference, because if you use a really soft fluffy brush or a more dense fluffy brush to apply the mattes, you get totally different results and color payoff. So I'm going to show you the difference, and you can check out all of the swatch things. Oh, and then we're doing a demo. This demo. Beautiful. Alright, let's get started with this demo. So I'm starting with the Too Faced Glitter Glue Primer, giving it a nice sticky base for those shimmery shades to stick onto. Set that primer between the crease and the brow so the mattes have a nice smooth base to blend over. Since I love these shimmery shades, I'm going to use them all. I'm going to apply them in order of color depth, so lightest to darkest. First up is Glam. It's going on the inner corner and in the inner part of the lower lash line. Just, you know, pack it on. I'm using a small brush for control around the inner corner, but you can certainly use something bigger to make it quicker. Next is Ethereal, and again, just tapping that on. I only want a little bit of this, and I'm going to use that brush to blend the 2 shades together. I'm going to blend as I go, makes it easier. Don't forget to apply to the lower lash line as well. If you do it now, you don't have to worry about a muddy brush. Next up is Minx, you sexy Minx. So again, just a small amount. Tap it on. Tapper, tapper, tapper. Blend, blend, blend. And of course, lower lash line. Don't forget. And finally, Trendy is going on the outer corner. I'm just giving it a nice
rounded look. Go Hayley, blend that shade. Very good job. Don't look at the viewfinder. Get to work. Don't forget the lower lash line, guys. Now for some mattes, I'm starting with Vintage, and this is just going in the crease. I'm using a very, very small amount. If you want to add more, you can do whatever you like. I just wanted a really, really soft look to help blend out a darker shade. Last shade is No Filter. This is going into my outer corner and my crease. I applied small amounts at a time and built it up slowly, blending as I go until I got the desired effect. I finished the look with eyeliner, lashes, mascara, bottom lash mascara, all that good stuff, and I was left with the look that you see in this video.
Alright, final thoughts. Despite all my criticism, I do like this palette. I have to ignore the fact that it's got Pro on the fucking front of it. Like, that just pisses me off, and it's not a Pro palette. I have to totally ignore this row of shades because, one, I'm not going to fuck around using like a dry, stiff powder as a liner. And they're completely useless as like crease shades, so that's a total waste of 4 eyeshadows for me. Then when we look at the palette sort of from here on, it's all much the same. I'm sure you can see that. It's just like, yeah, it's all the same. So it is very limiting, but also I find when I open this, if I appreciate it for the things that I do like in the palette, which is the formula of these shades here, and the fact that I like a cool plummy eye look, and these metallics, I like the palette. So I don't think the palette is perfect, and to be honest, I don't think it's worth the price tag, and I probably wouldn't encourage people to buy it unless you're like a Tarte junkie, a palette junkie, you know for a fact that you love these sort of shades. If that's you, go ahead, you probably will like the palette, but this isn't an every person palette. I would recommend everyone buy the Modern Renaissance palette, but I would not recommend everyone buy this palette. Alright guys, that's it. I'm really hot. I'm sweating, I'm disgusting, I need a drink, I'm going. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have tried the palette, the Tarteist Pro Palette, let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought of my review, my thoughts. Let me know all of the things down in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.